My question was, did you hold out on doing something for, okay, like you have more than one child, and then let's say you wanted to do something. You want to do it for all the kids, but maybe you're only able to do it for one of them at a time. Should you wait, or is it okay to go ahead and do whatever it is you was going to do for that child? Does that make sense?
It does. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is that it probably depends on what it is. And I'll give you an example. Of course, I love to shop, and if I had it my way, every time I went to the store, I'd be buying something for all of our kids all the time. But thank God he has my husband here to level me out to keep me from doing that.
That's why we have a house.
However, while I would love to just shop for them all the time, if one child is in need of something particular and they need that but the other children don't, then that child is going to get what they need. You know, and so, and that kind of where you kind of have to wait, you know, different things like that. If it's not something that serious, you know, it may just be a matter of, well, we're not going to do this time, but we'll do something that includes everybody. It just kind of depends on, you know, what it is.
And then too is, you know, with that is teaching the children that sometimes you're going to do some things for one, and you know that you'll get to each one of them, if that make any sense. It's like,
Right.
let's say for instance you're at a store, you may see something that'll fit one of your children, and it might not come in the same size and color for all of them, in other words. And so then it's, you know, you don't wait until whoever is making the clothes, you know, that particular clothing, to come out with it for little boys, just like it did for girls or whatever. And so, you know, it's just a matter of teaching them. And I think that that's a good thing to teach them. You know, there's nothing wrong with going to the store and buying something for one child that you know that child will like. And then, you know, and then maybe the other children know, I'll get you the next time. Or when I go out to the store and I see something, you know, that's more fitting for you, then I'll get that for you. But today we're going to do this for this child. And it teaches them not to be so caught up in themselves as well. Mm-hmm. It teaches them, hey, the party's not always about you. You were born one day during the year, not all of them, so we're not going to always have a party for you, you see. So,
all right.
And I think that's a good thing in a way, you know, because, and then of course to spread it around equally, you know, I think after a while of you doing it, they begin to understand, you know.
Right.
It's not that mama's favoring me over this one or that one over me. It's just, you know, what's there, you know. And just like you got the children with the different personalities, you know, this one's going to like that one. And of course, sometimes children can be so petty, they'll know, you know, well, I don't necessarily like it, but since you bought that one, then I want you to get it for me. Well, that's a way to teach them. No, I'm not. You know, you don't even like that. You just want it because you see your brother has it or your sister has it. So it's a way to teach them, you know.
Right. Teach them how to wait their turn for
yeah,
things.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Does that answer your question? All right. All right. Any more questions or comments?
Sometimes also it's a way to give a little extra special attention to that child at that moment. Like for instance, sometimes when I'm out in the store, all the kids aren't always with me, but who's ever with me at the time, I might buy them something to snack on while we're out. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to bring it home for everybody. That's just a treat you get because you're out helping me do something, you know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I might find ways at different times to do a little extra something for one or the other, and the other ones may not ever know about it, but the truth is all of them get it. They just get it at different times, you know. So.
And then I'll add on to that. And then there are times when it's time to reward children for maybe good grades, maybe improving their grades, maybe good behavior. Well, all of them don't, you know, if you got 5 children and, you know, 4 of them making F's and you got one that's on the banner roll, they don't all get the same party. We're going to honor the one that's making good grades. Now, if you want to be honored like that, then you're going to step your game up. You see? And so that's another thing when you're talking about merit, you know, when you're talking about doing things because of merit. for a child. Is, sometimes we have to separate, I guess, if that make any sense.
Right.
If they're acting a certain way or, not making good grades, then they don't necessarily get rewarded for making bad grades, you see. And so we can't hold out and say, well, I'm going to wait until all of y'all making all A's, and then we'll have a big party for everybody. And so, just honor children, and, and again, it teaches them, that this world only revolve around them, and I think all children go through that little stage where they think that we're all equal, and we want to receive rewards at the same time, or we want this because that one has it. But in life they'll be taught different, and so it's important that we start off teaching them that. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay, so so you was out with the child, like your other kids, maybe they wasn't there, and let's say you got one of them some ice cream. So you're like, so then the other one comes home, they're bragging to the other siblings that they got ice cream, and now the other kids are upset because they feel like, well, how come you didn't get us ice cream? So like, what do you do? Like,
that's their chance to learn that lesson. You just have to wait your turn until you're out with me the next time and I do something for you. I mean, like Brother Bolden said, it's life. When we're on our jobs, and I know anybody who's ever worked for any length of time, you've seen somebody be promoted and you weren't promoted. It teaches us how to deal with things and wait our turn in life. You see, sometimes, even in school, one group gets to do this and another group doesn't, or not at the same time. It's just really a part of life. And that's the time for us to teach our children how to deal with those things, basically how to deal with not getting their way all the time. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, the reality is we don't.
That's right.
Not even as adults, we don't, And so that's just an opportunity to say, hey, we were out, he got it. Next time it might be you. You just have to wait your turn.
Yeah. And then too, I think speaking on a spiritual level, as far as children, it teaches them the nature of God. And unfortunately, we have a lot of grown so-called spiritual people who want what God has but don't want to spend any time with him. And so you think about that child. Now, children, a lot of them, when they figure out, especially when you train them out of this idea of thinking every time they go to the store they're going to get something, pretty soon you can ask them all, do you want to go to the store? No. No. Because all that entails is me following behind you, running down the aisle to get something, putting in the basket, and then having it, Now, that's what's going on in their mind. But what they'll say is, no, I just stay home. Why? Because staying at home, I want to play games. I get a little freedom from you and all of this. Well, when the child does go, when, one of your other children do go with you to the store, it's kind of, now this is my thinking, it's kind of a reward for them, for the time that's spent. And so then you got the children at home mad because you gave that child ice cream. Well, next time you'll think twice about staying home. You could have been out here helping. And so it just teaches them, you don't get the blessings of God without having God himself. You see, it just teaches them that in the long run. All right. Brother Benjamin, you got a question? I'm just messing with you.
No.
I'm just messing with you, Benjamin. All right. What do you have to say about what I just said? You have anything you want? I mean, because I'm just expressing that's kind of how I see it. That it just, because I'm telling you, children, they get to that age. First of all, they like going with you. They like being out with you, and then they get to that age where they start becoming a little bit more independent, and so they want to stay home. In their mind, it's a break from you, and I get my own little freedom at home. And then, of course, when you reward the child for going with you, or just for being out there, they can get bitter about it, especially if they come home bragging about what they've had. You see, but it just teaches children a lesson. I think that that's so important that we teach our children and prepare them for the real world. And I think it's unfortunate that children today are not prepared for the real world. They think everybody's supposed to cater to them, and that everything is just going to fall in their hands, and that's just not real life. And so we have to be careful that we are not painting an unreal picture, a false picture to them of what the real world is like. Amen.